Now, before we start talking about network hacking, you need to have a basic understanding on how networks work. Now, we all know that a network usually contains a number of clients connected to each other, and clients usually connect to a network in order to share data or share a resource. A really good example of a resource that we all have connected to networks in order to access is the internet. So we connect to Wi-Fi networks and even wired networks all the time just to access the internet. Now, all networks, whether it's Wi-Fi or wired, work on the same principle. They have a device that is considered a server. Now, in many cases, for example, in your home network, this server is your router. This is also referred to as an access point. Now, this router or server or access point is the only device that has access to the resource. So none of these clients have direct access to the resource even after connecting to the network. The only way they can access the resource is through the access point. So let's say, for example, you're client number 1 and you connected to your home network over Wi-Fi or over Ethernet over a cable, and then you opened your browser and you typed google.com. What happens is your computer will send a request to the access point asking for google.com. The access point has access to the resource, which is the internet in this example, so it's going to go and look for google.com. It will receive google.com and it will forward that response to your computer, and as a result, you will see the website loading on your browser. So if you actually go to your router at home and look at it, you'll see at the back it's connected through a cable to the wall, and this is how it's getting its internet access. Therefore, it is the only device in your network that has direct access to the resource, and none of your computers, none of the computers connected to the network can access the resource or can access the internet without the router, without the access point. So the only way for all of the connected clients to access the resource is to go through the router. Now the data is transferred between the clients and the access point as packets. So you can think of all of these arrows as a series of packets being transmitted between the client and the router as requests and responses. Now in Wi-Fi networks, these packets are transmitted in the air. Therefore, if you have a wireless card and you're within range, you'll be able to capture all of these requests and responses. So basically, you'll be able to see anything that any computer connected to the same network as you does on the internet. Because they will have to send all of this data to the access point, and because they're sending this data in the air because you're in a Wi-Fi network, you'll basically be able to capture these requests and responses, and you'll be able to see the URLs they visit, the usernames, the passwords they enter, the chat messages, anything they do on the internet will be sent as packets, and therefore you'll be able to capture it and analyze it. We'll talk more about that and more about how networks work as we go through the course, but this is enough to get you going through the next few lectures so that you can sniff data, analyze it, and start launching some cool pre-connection attacks.